is Daniel Beck, and this is my 2015 graduate project called Digital Media Design. The project is focused on using IDEO's idea of human-centered design and applying it to those people undergoing treatment for myeloma, which is a type of cancer. This website documents that journey from the initial here stages, where we did a lot of our research and put together a design team to help later on. Then goes on to the create section, where we take that research, develop it into themes and ideas, and then we begin prototyping and reiterating on these ideas before gathering feedback from some of the people we interviewed. Then moves into the deliver stage, where we go through our ideas, fine-tune them, and find ways that we can actually deliver them. Stage where we find robust ways of taking these ideas and prototypes and actually making them into real world solutions, as well as putting together a 5-year implementation plan so we can really see real world effect from these. IDEO's human-centered design is one of the best ways we can go about doing that without having to procure a lot of big budget funding or partners to begin with, and it allows us to try out lots of small solutions to try and incrementally make our way to a bigger overall solution in the long term. Part of the IDEO design thinking process involves building a team of designers to work with throughout the process. This team was built from many people at university who managed to lend quite a bit of their time to help me out, as well as also in the form of some patients that I managed to speak to in terms of research, and also some of the staff at Bournemouth Hospital and at myeloma.org who were kind enough to give me some time and answer some of my questions. The whole point of having the team is generally to make sure you get enough viewpoints and different inputs and thoughts on each of the subjects that you're going over. This makes sure that you don't fall victim to any biases or any overlooked problems during the entire thing. The here section of the IDEO design process is based around giving your design team an emphatic understanding of the design process and the people that you're going to be designing for. This process uses a large number of different methods, ideas and concepts in order to gather a very robust and large amount of evidence. So when you come to display it to the design team, you manage to get a very deep understanding of the subject matter that you're looking at. There's also this section where we find it's best to find and start developing those relationships with the people you're designing with quite early on, as this will allow you to refer back to them throughout the rest of the research and make sure that your work you're doing is relevant and useful to them. Building blocks of community-driven design. When were you first diagnosed with myeloma?
In January 2010.
Okay. And how long have you been currently going through the intensive CTD treatment?
The last 6 months.
6 months. Who have gone through it and were going through it, or would you say it was still more of a scary experience, an unpleasant one?
I would probably benefit more right now that I'm in the middle of it from somebody who's been through it rather than before.
Okay.
Because only in as much that the NHS have done the most amazing job. I couldn't wish for better treatment.
The Create section of the IDEO toolkit is focused on analysing and interpreting the data you gathered in the Here section. It's then converting this into a collection of challenges and themes from which to work later on in the process. Part of the project began with sharing the stories that I'd gathered during the research phase with the rest of my design team and seeing what their initial input and ideas were, which were focused around this. We then began brainstorming an array of solutions and ways to tackle these problems, which we then went on to prototype and share with actual patients and people dealing with myeloma to see what they thought might be useful or what they thought might not be useful. The Deliver section of the IDEO toolkit involves the deployment of an implementation plan, which is formed by structuring your ideas around a certain length of time to make sure that you can actually get them out into the real world using incremental steps. This essentially means that we could start putting our ideas into practice straight away. The section begins with trying to find avenues of revenue and costing out the entire project. It then moves into judging which solutions you'd be able to put when and how they affect one another. Allowing you to build incrementally rather than having to take a big risk and put a lot of money into a single solution. This section is ultimately where you see all the work you've done start to come to life with a solution which can affect real people. On top of IDEO's normal timeline, I also added a target or hopeful goal of ours for 5 years' time, which would see all of the various solutions we've made form up into one integrated solution.